Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. SubhanAllah, it's good to see all of the enthusiastic participants already joining in. And you are spot on, punctual, mashallah. We are going to be starting very soon. We are waiting for our speaker, the Sheikh, and hopefully when he joins, we will kick things off. So if any of you are still in need of quick bathroom break or you want to make some tea or coffee, please go ahead and do so. Just as a reminder, the topic that, mashallah, that we have today is going to be a very interesting one. It will be related to the future of Islamic banking. Not just any future in Islamic banking, but the future of Islamic banking in Africa. And obviously, when we talk about the future of anything, please include aspects such as opportunities, challenges, and obviously the way forward. Okay, so inshallah, hang in there. Thank you very much for attending on time. Inshallah, we'll kick things off as soon as possible. Inshallah. Thank you. Again, I would like to welcome everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are yet to start our Islamic finance talk. We will start, inshallah, very soon. And just as a reminder on the topic, inshallah, it will be on the future of Islamic banking in Africa. So I'm pretty sure that even now you've already got some burning questions that you'd like to, inshallah, ask and discuss. It's going to be a very interesting one, inshallah. We are still trying to reach the facilitator, and we will be kicking things off very soon. Thank you for your patience. I said to everybody, if anybody wants to get a bathroom break or get some coffee or tea, go ahead and do so. By the way, this might be the last day for you to have coffee and tea in the afternoon. But if you're in part of the world that's still in the afternoon, because there is a possibility that tomorrow is Ramadan, right? Inshallah, inshallah. Anyway, hang in there. We will kick things off very soon. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum again, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Inshallah, we will be kicking things off very soon. We have reached out to the facilitator. Seems that there's a little bit of a mix-up with the timing, and that is why it's a bit late. So inshallah, we will be kicking things off very soon. Thank you very much for your patience. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum
Dr.
assalam
Muhammad.
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you?
All
Sorry,
good,
no,
mashallah,
I thought it was 2 p.m. Sorry for that.
subhanallah. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, it happens. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah.
I wasn't leaving the audience in suspense. I actually told them that inshallah you'll be joining soon, and I reminded them on the topic, and there was a bit of a mix-up with the time. Alhamdulillah. How are you? Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, very fine, Alhamdulillah.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Sorry.
Bless you. And I wanted to ask you actually, because here we're still waiting for the news of when Ramadan starts. And how about there? When will Ramadan start? Is it going to be tomorrow or Thursday?
Mostly tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Inshallah, we'll see. So, by the way, before I just start with an opening, Sheikh, I want to just remind you that I think the camera, your camera, there's a cover. I think something is covering it. Yeah.
You can see me?
It's not your. I can see you, but only half.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
1 second.
Yes. Thank you. I think it's not your background. It's just there's like something in front of it or something. Sorry, doctor.
Yeah. So what about now?
This is better, mashallah. This is much better. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. And by the way, Doc, do you have access to the slides?
Yeah. I will share. Yes. I will share the slides.
Oh, wonderful. And you can share it directly, right, to the participants?
Yes.
On the screen. Excellent. Great. Let's kick things off, shall we? Let's kick things off, inshallah. I understand that everybody's in a bit of a suspense in regards to this subhanallah discussion that we're about to have, because it's such an interesting topic. Thank you, Doctor. We see your presentation very clearly, inshallah, very clearly. Jazakallah khair. I just want to start with a little bit of an opening, if that's all right. And inshallah, we can proceed. So, again, for the third time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to today's BIBF Islamic Finance Talk. You know the topic already, right? The future of Islamic banking in Africa. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about challenges. We're talking about the way forward. I am honestly very delighted to see so many of you joining us virtually today. we have a registration of 350 people. 350 people. So subhanallah, this is obviously something which is very, very good. I am, again, I am going to start with a bit of an opening, okay? I'm not going to take a lot of time, but when we talk about Africa, we're talking about a continent which has immense potential for Islamic banking and finance. I mean, Africa has a very young population. It's got growing demand for ethical and Sharia compliant financial services, right? It presents both exciting opportunities and very real challenges. Now, today's session that inshallah our presenter will be discussing aims to explore these various dynamics and reflect on what the way forward could look like for Islamic banking in Africa. I mean, as we speak, in the idea, we just had visitors from the GCB, which is the largest bank in Ghana, right? The board of directors of GCB, along with its chairman, Professor Joshua, right? They visited the IDF to do Islamic finance training, right? Why? Because the country has just recently released a new framework for Islamic banks, right? SubhanAllah. So obviously, it is currently really, really going on right now. So before we move to today's main presentation, I would like to say that we're really honored to hear a few opening remarks from our partner, right? And when we talk about Islamic finance talks, we always have to mention Hijaz. I am not sure if our partner, the representative, Mr. Muzammil, is actually there in the audience. Are you there, Sheikh?
I am. I'm here.
Excellent, mashallah. Jazakallah. My apologies. My apologies. It's a pleasure to have you, Sheikh. As
Likewise.
a reminder, I know that Sheikh Muzammil, my dear brother, many of these guys are repeat attendees and they already know you, I'm sure. But for those of you who are new, Mr. Muzammil is the executive director, co-founder of Hijaz, and he will be, inshallah, be sharing a brief opening message. Thank you. Please, Sheikh, the floor is yours, Sheikh.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the attendees and our esteemed speaker, and obviously the BIBF for all the effort that they do in putting together these talks. Always very well attended and very well managed. So thank you, everybody. Look, from our side, Hijaz is, it's always a pleasure for us to join and support these initiatives. I think, the knowledge sharing, the capacity building that goes on in these forums cannot be underestimated. And obviously a growing market like Africa, which is, a very sizable continent, a great opportunity for both the community that live over there, but also for market participants to come in as service providers and to address the growing need for Islamic finance in that market is something that cannot be underplayed and understated. On the Hijaz side, many of you already know who we are. We are a global Islamic predominantly into asset management, lending, and fintech. We've come out of Australia and are now, located in 5 different offices around the world, in Indonesia, in China, in Bahrain, in the UK, and obviously in Australia where we began. We have a suite of ETFs that we've established and listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, on the London Stock Exchange as well as building a variety of different investment products, wholesale funds, retail funds, collective investment undertakings, all the way through to financing products, things like home financing programs, automotive financing, SME business financing as well, all aligned with AOFI standards as well. So there's a lot that we have going on, obviously, in our world. Even in the fintech side as well, we have a payments offering there as well. Everything from transactional finance through to e-wallets and Visa debit cards and everything else in between. So there's a lot that we could discuss and unpack, but I know that we've been a bit delayed in our start today, so I won't hold up proceedings any longer. And obviously, Hijaz, you can Google us up or find us online, and happy for anybody to reach out and raise with us any queries or any questions they have, and we can explore further from there. So I won't hold up any further. Over to Dr. Muhammad for his remarks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Muzammil. Inshallah, Dr. Inab, Dr. Mohammed Inab, I'm going to be introducing you really quickly, inshallah, right? Just a very short profile, right? I'm pretty sure many of the attendees already know who you are already. They've done their homework. But yes, Dr. Mohammed Ahmed Inab is the head of Sharia at some bank in Somalia, where he is responsible for overseeing Sharia compliance and governance within the bank. Dr. Inab brings with him strong practical experience from the African Islamic banking landscape, particularly in East Africa, where Islamic financial institutions are playing an increasingly important role in financial inclusion and economic development. He's also contributed to regional Islamic finance discussion forums, sharing practitioner-level insights on the growth, challenges, and future direction of Islamic banking in Africa. You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, without further ado, let me please introduce Dr. Inab. Sheikh, the floor is yours.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Thank you, brother, for welcoming me, and also thanks for the audience. As you see, our session today will be on the future of Islamic banking in Africa. You can see the screen.
Yes, we can see very clearly.
Yeah. So we are talking about, we'll be talking about the future of Islamic banking in Africa. We will try to cover this topic from opportunities perspective. What are the opportunities that the African Islamic banking in Africa will have, and also what are the challenges which are facing, whether present challenges or potential challenges, and also the way forward. How do African countries face, these challenges in the future and in present also? If you can see here, Islamic finance globally manages almost $6 trillion worldwide, almost 5.98 trillion from the data in 2024. With only 5 years, within only 5 years, it's expected to reach, $10 trillion. And if you see the composition of this, mostly it comes from the Islamic banks, which represents 72%. And we are talking about, the deposit side and also the financing portfolio on the financing side. And also the Islamic funds, the Islamic investments represent 1.08 trillion. And also we have the sukuk, which are the Islamic bonds, which represent 1.03 trillion. And also we have the takaful, which is Islamic insurance, which represents, $600 billion. And you can see that, the major shares goes to the Islamic banks. And also in Africa, we have the major share in Africa comes from the Islamic banks. We have a number of Islamic banks in mostly is concentrated in, East Africa and West Africa. We have 2,255 Islamic financial institutions, mainly, Islamic banks, Islamic insurance companies or takaful, and also Islamic funds, or what you call Islamic mutual funds. The annual growth rate is, 21%, and that is in 140 countries. And if you can see the Islamic banking is growing worldwide, it's really increasing. It's expected to reach into 2029 9.7 trillion. So if you coming back to Africa, in Africa, we have 104 Islamic banks, including fully fledged and also windows. We have for 104 Islamic banks and windows, which are present in 28 countries across sub-Saharan Africa. And annual growth rate is expected to be 20%. And if you can see here, the green represents the East Africa, where we have a higher presence. For example, countries like Somalia, which are, 100%, the Sharia governance is 100%. The all banks in Somalia, they are Islamic banks. The same for also Sudan, where I have, studied my my master's and PhD. The Sudan is, one of the earliest countries who have introduced the Islamic banking system since 1970s, and all the banks are Islamic, 100%. You can see that the whole ecosystem in Sudan is 100% Islamic. And also you have, so these two countries, Somalia and Sudan, they have 100% Islamic banking presence, where, you will not find a conventional bank or conventional insurance or conventional mutual funds. And the goal, North Africa, it's established and emerging, and so South Africa also, it's niche market, and so we have represented all, the African countries and their, openness to Islamic banking system. And we did here a comparison between 4 countries, African countries, Somalia and Sudan, which are the two most Islamic countries who have, fully fledged. All the banks in Sudan and Somalia, they are all Islamic banks. And Egypt, it's, we can say that Egypt, they have you have like 3 banks which are fully fledged, and Nigeria and less than that. So in Somalia, we have like 13 banks which are 100% Islamic. They have full Sharia governance mechanism, the Sharia board, the Sharia compliance division and also Sharia auditors, internal Sharia auditors or external Sharia auditors. So in Somalia, we can say the Sharia governance mechanism is 100% implemented, and the same for Sudan. And all the banks in Sudan, there are Islamic banks, and also we have a number of insurance companies or takaful companies, which are also 100% Islamic. And we can say that, the regulatory system is 100% or fully established in Sudan, where the Central Bank of Sudan governs all the banks. There are a number of acts and laws relating to Sharia, which have been released or issued by the Central Bank of Sudan. And where in Somalia, from regulatory side, the Islamic banking governance is not 100% established, but all the banks in Somalia, as the country is 100% Muslim, they are, Islamic. But we can say that in Sudan, they are more established even at a regulatory level. For also in Nigeria, that the Muslim population is one of the largest countries in Africa, with 95 plus million Muslim population. If you look at the current Islamic banking assets in Nigeria, it's like 2.5 billion, and the growth rate, annual growth rate, is like 15 to 20% annual. And 40% of the population, which approximately 36 million adults, are not banking. And one of the interesting aspects in Nigeria, Islamic banking system in Nigeria, is that they have introduced a sukuk. which is Islamic bonds, issued 150 plus million sukuk, mostly issued by the federal government and also the states. For Kenya, also Kenya is one of the main countries in East Africa. We can say after Sudan and Somalia, Kenya is the third largest country that have Islamic banking presence. We also have Djibouti, but Djibouti is a very small country. For example, in Kenya, we have like 3-4 Islamic banks which are fully fledged, and there are also a number of Islamic windows. Also, the Kenya has a strong regulatory framework. We have a number of Somali diaspora in Kenya, growing Somali diaspora remittances, approximately 1.4 billion annually. And also there are investments in real estate and SME financing, tourism and hospitality, also port and infrastructure development, a fintech innovation hub also. There are also a number of takaful or Islamic insurance companies also in Kenya. Coming back to Morocco, Muslim population is approximately 6+ million, 99% of the population, which represents 99% of the population. Morocco introduced the Islamic banking lately, starting from 2017, but they have a number of Islamic banks, fully fledged Islamic banks. And also market growth, Islamic banking market growth is approximately 25 to 30% annually. They have 3+ billion Islamic assets. And as Morocco is, mostly 100% Muslim population, there is a strong demand. There is a strong demand. And the banks in Morocco, the small banks, Islamic banks in Morocco, they have introduced they have concentrated on the financing side, mostly financing real estate, SME, agriculture. In Somalia, as I have said earlier, Somalia is 100% Sharia compliant. There is a 100% Sharia compliant banking system where we do not have any conventional bank. And there is a fully established Sharia governance frameworks within the banks, where all the banks in Somalia they have established Sharia governance mechanism, Sharia board, Sharia department, Sharia unities. And we have 13. The Somali have 13 licensed banks, mostly. There is a new bank also joining, so they're 14, and all of them, they are Islamic. They are implementing the Islamic banking system fully. And maybe you can say that one of the challenges that are facing Somalia is the regulatory side, where the regulatory system is not 100% established yet. I mean, for example, there should be, as you know, the governance should come from the regulatory side. For example, there should be a central Sharia board, the central Sharia department. There should be also acts and laws, governing the banks, the local banks. That will make the implementation of the Sharia across all the banks. That will make them that easy, very easy. If you see, for example, in Sudan, they have concentrated on the regulatory side. The Central Bank of Sudan is governing all the banks. Even the external Sharia report, external auditor reports. There are guidelines from the Central Bank of Sudan governing how the external auditor's report will be based on, the Sharia rulings and, Sharia principles. So we can say that in Somalia, they concentrated on murabaha. If you can see the financing portfolio is we can say that 98% or 99% of their financial portfolio is on murabaha. There are a few banks who have implemented other financing modes like istisna and ijara, but they are concentrating on murabaha. And I think that's a common factor in worldwide. What are the opportunities, key opportunities? We can say that there is a massive untapped market. We are talking about 40% plus Muslim population, growing middle class, which are seeking Sharia compliant products, who need, a halal financing. And also 60% mobile money penetration, like Islamic fintech integration, agent banking expansion, rural agencies, urban users. And also sukuk market potential. There's a very huge potentiality for sukuk issuing sukuk. There are 700 billion to 1 trillion annual infrastructure needs. For example, airports, roads, even blue energy. So these are great opportunities if the mechanism is the Islamic banking mechanism. For example, government support, sukuk, like for example the case of Nigeria, as we have mentioned it. Or also Benin. Benin had a successful sukuk issuing. They have issued 750 million sukuk. I think Nigeria and Benin, they have a good experience in sukuk, where the other African countries also can follow that role. In Kenya, we have a good experience, the sukuk issuance, but it's not that huge. And when we're also coming back to the challenges, there are a lot of challenges facing Islamic banking in Africa. Number one, regulatory framework gaps. As I said, there are no comprehensive Islamic finance regulations, specifically for countries like Egypt, Somalia, Kenya, and most of these countries, the central banks are conventional banks, and also maybe Sudan is exceptional. I can say Sudan is 100% exceptional, where their regulatory framework is 100% established, but maybe it needs, improvement. Also, a need for harmonizing standards, and also absence of a dedicated legal frameworks. These are one of the major challenges in regulatory framework gaps. A lack of comprehensive Islamic finance regulations. For example, there are no acts or regulatory acts from the regulatory governing, for example, financing products, murabaha, istisna, salam. Also, there are no harmonizing standards and absence of a dedicated legal frameworks. One of the challenges, one of the major challenges, also is limited Sharia governance. As I said, there's a shortage of qualified Sharia scholars. Also, need for centralized Sharia committees. There are no. There should be, as you know, the Sharia governance implementation should start from the government side, from central side. For example, we should have, central bank, central Sharia board or Sharia board at the central level, and also there should be central Sharia departments. as for example, central banks do have supervision and licensing departments. They have different departments. So there should be also a central division or a central Sharia unit and their main tasks will be monitoring Islamic banks from Sharia perspective, doing Sharia reviews, Sharia compliance reviews, and also issuing reports monitoring the commercial banks. So there is a shortage, or we can say that a very limited qualified Sharia scholars, and also need for central Sharia committees or Sharia board members at central level. And also standardization also is lack of standardization also is one of the major challenges. Also liquidity management. One of the challenges is how liquidity is managed in African countries. Limited Sharia compliant liquidity instruments. Maybe the banks go directly to conventional instruments because there are no Sharia compliant liquidity instrument, and also there are no Sharia compliant hedging instruments. And also one of the challenges is absence of Islamic interbank markets, need for sukuk based solutions for funding infrastructure, etc. One of the also main challenges the issue of awareness and capacity building. Most of the people they have a very limited understanding of Islamic banking. For example, the farmer the farmer who goes directly to the bank and applies for a loan or for a financing, he doesn't know that, for example, istisna as a financing mode will achieve or will cover his needs. So the issue of awareness is one of the also major challenges. That's why we need, for example, to concentrate on the capacity building, organizing sessions for the clients and even for the bankers. One of the also major challenges is limited consumer knowledge, as I said in the farmer case, and the trust also. They do not yet believe that the Islamic finance is the solution and it can solve their financing needs. Need for extensive educational campaigns also. Yeah, we have to conduct sessions, workshops, seminars, where we teach and increase the knowledge about the Islamic banking product is how the Islamic banking product is give solution to these customers or clients. Also, one of the major challenges is infrastructure and talent deficits, outdated banking technology systems. Some of the banks they are using outdated banking co-banking systems, lack of skilled professionals in Islamic finance within the bank, whether the regulatory side or within the commercial banks or insurance companies or mutual funds. And also need for specialized training and development programs, as I said. Also, the political and economic instability is one of the major challenges. Political uncertainty, conflict, economic volatility, and currency fluctuations. These have also impact on the Islamic bank implementation or development and improvement.
Sorry to interrupt, Doctor. Can you kindly make your slides fit to page? The icon next to the number of slides on the top, you can see next to the number 11. The icon next to it.
This one?
I cannot see your mouse. The icon. It's on the top, where you can see the plus and the minus sign next to it.
Oh, here?
Yes, this one, please.
This one?
One that next to the plus sign, the arrows.
Oh, here.
Not, yes. Yes, doctor, that's much better. Thank you.
Thank you. So that you mean that you can't see the slide fully?
Yes, it fits the page. It's better now. We can see the text now.
Yeah. Anyhow, I will share the slides, inshallah, at the end of the session. Okay, no problem. Don't worry. Okay. Now, the way forward, what are the strategic recommendations that we can give the Islamic banking partners in Africa, and where they can build on it, in further researches, in further, sessions and or workshops. Number one, regulatory harmonization. As I said, we encourage the central banks in Africa and also the commercial or investment banks in Africa, takaful, mutual funds. We encourage them to do regulatory, what we call regulatory harmonization, where they adopt, the Islamic standards, specifically those standards issued by IUFI and IUFI, which is Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution, a non-for-profit organization based in Bahrain. I think you are all familiar with it. They really did a good job, where they have issued a number of standards in Sharia and governance in accounting. There are, guidelines that might be used by the central banks, specifically in governance side. So adoption of these standards, also IFSB. We encourage the banks and the central banks also to adopt these standards. Also create dedicated Islamic finance legal frameworks at regulatory level. We encourage them to issue acts and financial laws governing the Islamic banking activities and practices, specifically in the governance side. Because when we have strongly established governance frameworks, the implementation of standards, these standards like IUFI standards, or even the Sharia board resolutions, it will be very easy. Sometimes you have a very strong governance mechanism within the system, within the bank or within the insurance company, but if that's not supported by laws or acts from the central bank or from the government, it will be very difficult to implement. Also, establish centralized Sharia boards. As I have said, there should be a Sharia board at central level, which is, for the Sharia, for the central bank. This Sharia board is for the central bank, and then each bank or each institution licensed by the central bank will have also their Sharia board members. But this Sharia board member is therefore for this institution is licensed by the bank. And also we should have also the central Sharia board which is part of the central bank, where the Sharia board members within these organizations, within these institutions, they send their reports to the central Sharia board. And also we should have also the central Sharia division or central Sharia compliance division or department at the central level. Also cross-border regulatory cooperation. We encourage also there should be a cooperation between the departments, between the banks, financial institutions within Africa, where because we have some of the countries, they have a very strongly established governance mechanism, like we are talking about Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, Djibouti, where they have concentrated on Islamic banking sector. We have also good examples of investment side, like issuing sukuk, the case of Nigeria, Benin, and lately we have some experiences in Kenya that have issued sukuk. They have entered into market, sukuk market. So there should be a cross-border regulatory cooperation, and not only regulatory, also the banks and the financial institutions within those banks should also cooperate. Number 2, capacity building and education, partner with INSEEF, IBIFM, IUFI, IUFI, and also Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance. They do a lot of trainings and workshops, and IUFI also have capacity building training and workshops. Develop local Islamic finance, also in the universities, even the education side. We should establish faculties for Islamic banking, Islamic economy, where we equip the students and participants with the necessary Islamic banking knowledge. Also train Sharia scholars and professionals. There should be workshops, trainings, seminars. Yes, some of the banks, they do. They have some of the. I know some of the banks, they have departments. For example, research and training departments. But also we should have the countries, nation level strategies, where there should be a number of centers specialized in Islamic banking workshops, seminars, and trainings. Also public awareness campaigns. Number 3, digital innovation, leverage mobile money infrastructure. Also, for example, in East Africa, we have, for example, mobile applications. We have a lot of mobile application systems, fintech. There should be also specified acts and laws, also Sharia standards, Sharia guidelines for these digital systems or mobile wallet ecosystem. Number 4, market development, expand product offerings. We saw that in some countries, like East African countries, they concentrated on Islamic banking. They do not have a good experience or good examples of, for example, sukuk, mutual funds. So they should also expand and try to go to, for example, sukuk side, like some of the countries, Nigeria and Benin. They have not concentrated on Islamic banking side. They concentrated on issuing sukuk. Also, sustainable and impact finance, align Islamic finance with UN SDGs, promote green sukuk, support social impact projects, integrate ESG criteria into financing. Also, financial inclusion, one of the main areas that they made concentrated on financial inclusion and SME support, design accessible microfinance products, provide tailored financing for SMEs and startups, implementing financial literacy programs, extend outreach to undeserved rural areas. Also concentrating on the rural areas, for example, financing by concentrating on productive sector and so on. Coming back to digital transformation and fintech, mobile money leadership, 60% penetration in sub-Saharan Africa. mobile first banking approach, agent banking. As I said, for example, in East Africa, we have there is a high presence of digital transformation where we have for example banks who are 100% digital. Also, we have a high presence of remittance companies which concentrate on mobile applications. And there are no frameworks, legal frameworks or Sharia frameworks for these mobile applications. There should be, a complete Sharia governance for mobile applications. I know, yes, most of the mobile applications they are linked to, for example, for the banks, they are linked to accounts, specifically for current accounts, which are based on Qard Hassan, as most of Islamic or Sharia scholars said. But there should be also unique. There might be additional items. So there should be also a governance, Sharia governance for this also. If we Sukuk market, if we look at Sukuk market, global Sukuk market, 1.03 trillion. Benin, as I said, for example, if we talk about Africa, Benin have issued 75 million Sukuk worth 75 million. And also Benin and Nigeria, they are good examples in Africa for introducing Sukuk market, and lately also Kenya. In Somalia, there are a lot of projects who are going now, but they have not released it to the market yet. Okay, I guess that's the last slide. And we are concluding with when we are saying that Africa is a growth frontier for Islamic finance, and Africa has a good potential to implement an Islamic banking system. There are a good number of Muslims. We can say that mostly 40% of African population, they're Muslims. And East Africa has good examples of Islamic bank implementing Islamic banking system. We have, the experience of Sudan. Sudan is one of the earliest countries who have implemented Islamic banking, like starting from 1970s. And they have all the banks in Sudan. They are Islamic banks, as I said. They also have a number of takaful or insurance companies, and they are established from even the regulatory side. They have 100% established regulatory framework. In Somalia, we have they have a number of Islamic banks, like 14 Islamic banks, which are 100% Islamic, but there are some issues in regulatory side. Kenya, the central bank is conventional, but we have a good number of Islamic banks which are fully fledged. Also, there are a good number of takaful and Islamic insurance companies. We have a good experience of Sukuk issuing in Nigeria and Benin, and even in Sudan. The Sudan, they have two popular issues. One of them is called Shaham, and one of them is called Shamam, where they have used this, Sukuk financing infrastructure, roads and airports. But there are, challenges in some countries, African countries, where the Islamic banking is not supported from regulatory side. As you know, the implementation of the Islamic banking system is 100%. It cannot be implemented 100% if there is no support from regulatory side. So I think the Islamic banking is growing, is increasing in Africa. All these will, take part in the development and the growth of the Islamic banking in Africa. So we are coming to the end of this session. Back to you, brother, and if there are any questions or comments, we are welcoming them. Thank you very much. Brother Abdul Fattah, are you there?
He should be joining back soon, Doctor. We have a few participants with raised hands. Please type in your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll share it with the Dr. Muhammad.
I think some colleagues, they are raising their hands.
Please type in your questions, whatever queries you have regarding the presentation or general any question in the chat box. We have Dr. Muhammad, are you able to see the chat box? The Q&A, if you click on the Q&A, you'll see that Mr. Muhammad has typed in a question.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Presented the African country besides in Islamic finance products, some in Murabaha and Mudaraba, others in Ijara, Salam or Sukuk. How can we benchmark these strengths and share regulatory government and private sector lessons to accelerate Islamic finance growth across Africa? How can we benchmark these strengths and share regulatory government and private sector lessons? Yes, brother, as I said, there should be the
I believe there is a bit of a connection issue from the presenter's end. We'll wait for him to join back and answer the questions. Thank you for your questions in the placing them in the question and answer section. We'll let the facilitator get back to you on all of these questions. At the moment, we're trying to get him back in on the talk, but I believe he's facing a bit of a technical issue. We would appreciate if the remaining participants can also share any queries or any questions that they have, and we'll make sure that you get an answer for all of this. And the video of it will also, this talk will also be on our YouTube channel within a few days, inshallah. Thank you.
Hello, sorry. Sorry, I have faced some internet issues. So
Thank you for joining again, Doctor. We have a few questions, very interesting questions for you in the Q&A section. If you can check that, maybe we can go according to the order of how we receive them.
okay. Can you give them directly to ask the questions, because I can't open the chat. Can't open the chat. I can see it.
The first question, you had already read the question. It was on how can the benchmark the strengths and share regulatory government and private sector lessons to accelerate Islamic finance growth across Africa.
Yes, yeah. Yes, I say that the central banks of these financial institutions should issue regulations and acts, financial acts, governing these, for example, financial products. For example, there should be governing acts for murabaha, for salam, for istisna. For example, now we have standards, for example, for murabaha, Sharia standards for murabaha, or accounting standards for murabaha from, for example, from AUFI. But AUFI is not a regulatory. So the central banks for these countries should include in their policies. For example, every central bank issues something called guidelines for lending or for financing. So, for example, there should be guidelines from the regulatory for murabaha, for ijara, for salam, for istisna, and also for if it's a bank, for example, for the deposit. That will accelerate or support the implementation, or will make the implementation easy for the banks or for these financial institutions. I think I have answered your question. If it's not clear for you, please let me know.
Thank you, Doctor. Let's move to the next question very quickly. What is your view on African countries that decide not to use the name Islamic banking, but rather non-interest banking?
Well, there is an argument between the Sharia scholars that says, can we say Islamic Well, for example, the bank is not for example, is not implementing the interest-based loans. Can we say it's Islamic? Some scholars or Sharia scholars, they say it's better to say non-interest institutions because they are not implementing the full ecosystem of Islamic banking. So yes, you can. It's better to say halal, interest-free, if we go to that approach.
The next question is, how do we navigate the endemic treasury product deficit in the industry? And what are the treasury products you have in Somalia?
Well, in Somalia, we do not have much treasury products. There are some of projects which are taking place now. They have not 100% implemented or released to the market, but we are planning to issue, for example, for my bank, we have a project where we want to issue sukuk for medical services, ijara based or forward ijara based sukuk, where we raise funds to finance medical services for some of the big hospitals in the country, but we have not yet released it to the market. But in Sudan, in Nigeria, in Benin, even in Kenya, we have a lot of sukuk experiences, even sukuk experiences in infrastructure, real estate. For example, in Kenya, they before like 1 year, they have launched a project called Liaison, based on ijara, forward ijara, for they have used it for infrastructure, real estate.
Doctor, the next question is, why is Murabaha the only financing mode in countries like Somalia where there is 100% Sharia compliance? And another question is, what are the challenges of adopting equity-based IBF like Musharaka and Mudaraba?
Well, it is the risk. They are avoiding the risk. If you go to Musharaka, Mudaraba, that means you should share the risk with the client. But for them, Murabaha is 100% risk-free, where you just create a debt. So at the end of the day, you need your cash from the client, whatever he is. But in Musharaka, it means you are sharing the risk with the client, and I think that's opposite of the maqasid sharia, maqasid sharia or sharia objective is where the sharia is the sharia wants us to concentrate on participatory modes of financing like musharaka, mudaraba, where that's the real that comes with the maqasid sharia. But for them, for example, in Somalia, the financing protocol is 100%. We can say that 99.9% is is murabaha. They don't even implement other financing modes like istisna, salam, maybe ijara, a very small portion of ijara, maybe we can say 0.2%. And the reason is they need to avoid, they want to avoid the risk. They want to move all the risk to the client side. And I think there are a lot of researches, discussions, and debate on this side, even in many conferences, including youth conferences, and there are a lot of papers that have been published in this side, in this area.
Doctor, how can awareness and education about Islamic finance be improved across African market? What is your suggestion?
Okay, my suggestion is, as I said in the last previous slides, capacity building, awareness, campaigns. We have also to establish, centers. We have to collaborate with Islamic banking institutes and centers, like for example Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance, to train the staff, also to organize workshops, seminars. I think this is a matter of capacity building and awareness. Most of the people, they don't know much, specifically in Africa, about Islamic banking.
Doctor, the next question is a bit of a long, if bear with me. Several Muslim minority countries in Africa have started to roll out Islamic finance ecosystem, but the issue of awareness of Islamic finance remains a challenge. How can Islamic international institutions be moved to support the issue of raising awareness on this subject, and what other efforts need to be expanded?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of, for example, the Islamic Development Bank had some initiatives. I think the Islamic Development Bank can play a big role in this area, and it's one of its initiatives, strategic initiatives. There are no, most of the African countries, many of them, they don't interest in Islamic banking, and the reason is they don't know about the Islamic banking. We have a number of Islamic countries, African Islamic countries, and from their beliefs, they are pushed by the demand of the clients. For example, in Somalia, I said that there is no regulatory support, but the banks should become Islamic 100% Islamic banks, because the demand is based on this is the demand of the clients. For example, if you say in Somalia the bank is conventional, maybe you will not get any client. You will not find depositories. You will not find the clients who are seeking or applying for financing. So they are pushed by the demand from the clients. But coming back to your question, it's through, as I said, through capacity building, training, workshops, and we have, a number of players, key players in this area, specifically, Islamic Development Bank. There are some institutes or the institutions, educational institutions, who have presence in most of African countries. And also, as I said, we need also to establish faculties in the universities specialized for Islamic banking, Islamic economy, not only Sharia, the classical fiqh Sharia, but also the modern Islamic banking, because Islamic banking is different from Sharia or fiqh. So even our educational institutions, they can play a big role in that area.
Thank you, Doctor. Just towards the end, there's a comment from one of the attendees that at the moment there are 6 full-fledged Islamic banks in Nigeria. I believe you mentioned 2 in your presentation.
Yes, because what time they have, because this is based on 2024. I have most of the information in this presentation is from IMF, World Bank, and Islamic Development Bank. So I need you to tell me the date. Maybe there are a number of Islamic banks that have been, initiated later on, as this data is, in 2024. So yes. Based on the data, because most of this data is from the IMF, World Bank, and Islamic Development Bank, and also some research for some scholars, PhD and master's thesis. So maybe.
Thank you, Doctor. This brings us to the end of the session today. Thank you so much for your time and for the details that you shared. I'm sure it was very informational to all the attendees. We would also like to thank all of the people who made time, joined on time, and hopefully this session was fruitful for them. Like I mentioned earlier, the video of this talk will inshallah be on our YouTube channel within a few days, and you will be able to go through it again and review the questions and the information that Dr. Muhammad Inab provided us. Thank you so much, Doctor. Mr. Al-Fatih is currently busy in one of the sessions, is delivering, so he will not be able to join in to thank you towards the end. But we at Islamic Finance are very grateful for your time and for the talk that you have delivered.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.